In August 2013, a heartbreaking event happened in Southern California that shocked people everywhere and deeply impacted the local community. This is the true crime story of Christina Anderson, her 8-year-old son Ethan, and her 16-year-old daughter Hannah. What started as a regular day turned into a tragic final betrayal when their family friend, James DiMaggio, did something unimaginable. Christina Anderson, who is often called Tina by those who knew her well, lived in Lakeside, California, with her 2 children, Ethan and Hannah. Christina was a devoted mom. People who knew her said she was always full of life, and she loved helping out her family and friends whenever they needed it. She also made sure her kids were involved in activities they loved. Hannah was a typical teenager. She enjoyed spending time on social media, practicing her cheerleading, and hanging out with her friends. She was preparing to start her junior year at El Capitan High School. People knew her as a lively and outgoing girl who had a lot of friends and loved being social. Ethan was a fun-loving kid. He enjoyed playing sports, especially football. He was set to start the 4th grade at Lindo Lake Elementary School in the fall of 2013. Ethan was cherished by his family, especially his mom and sister. In April 2013, Brett Anderson, the children's father, accepted a new job in Tennessee. This meant he had to be away from his family for long periods. Even though Brett was far away, he remained dedicated to his family. He always made time to return for important family events, like Hannah's 16th birthday celebration. He stayed in close contact with Christina and relied on their family friend, James DiMaggio, to help out with the kids. James DiMaggio was considered a close family friend. He was 40 years old and worked as a telecommunications technician. He had been friends with the Anderson family for a long time and was like an uncle to Hannah and Ethan. DiMaggio was particularly close to Brett, and he had even been the best man at Brett and Christina's wedding. Over the years, DiMaggio often helped out the Anderson family by giving them rides to appointments, taking the kids on outings, and helping with whatever they needed. Eventually, DiMaggio's behavior toward Hannah changed in a strange and unsettling way. He told Hannah that he had a family crush on her, which made her extremely uncomfortable. Her friends noticed how creeped out she was by him, and she began to avoid being alone with DiMaggio. However, Hannah didn't tell her parents about his strange comments, so they continued to trust him as a friend. On August 3, 2013, Christina picked up Ethan from football practice, and they went to DiMaggio's house, which was located in Boulevard, California, about 45 miles away from Lakeside. The visit was supposed to be a friendly goodbye, as DiMaggio had told the family he was losing his home and planned to move to another state. Christina even brought the family dog along for what she thought would be a normal visit. Hannah didn't want to go and had begged her mom not to make her, but Christina insisted. Hannah was going to arrive later, after her cheerleading practice. At 4 p.m., DiMaggio picked up Hannah from her practice and took her back to his home. When they got there, Hannah immediately noticed something was off. Her mom and brother weren't anywhere in sight, but she saw her mom's purse inside DiMaggio's house. That's when DiMaggio revealed his true plan. He told Hannah that he was giving up and that he was struggling. He said he needed her help to get to Idaho, but he didn't explain much more. Then, DiMaggio did something terrifying. He played Russian roulette. Thankfully, nothing happened, but then he told Hannah it was her turn. She was terrified, crying and begging him to stop. So, she faked not feeling well to get DiMaggio to stop. Since DiMaggio thought Hannah wasn't feeling well, he gave her some pills, which she believed were Ambien. After taking the pills, Hannah blacked out and only remembers waking up in a car later. The next day, on August 4, 2013, around 8 p.m., a fire was reported at DiMaggio's home. Investigators later discovered that DiMaggio had set the fire using a timer. By the time firefighters arrived, the house was engulfed in flames. Once they were able to put the fire out, they found the remains of Christina, Ethan, and the family dog inside the burned-out home. Christina's life was taken by blunt force trauma to the head, and Ethan succumbed as a result of the fire. DiMaggio had used a firearm to kill the family dog. It didn't take long for investigators to realize that the fire had been set on purpose. When the authorities discovered that Hannah was missing, they became extremely concerned. And since they couldn't initially identify the remains of the child in the burned-out home, they issued an Amber Alert for both Hannah and Ethan. As investigators began searching for Hannah, they started piecing together information. They discovered that on the day of the kidnapping, Hannah and DiMaggio had exchanged 13 calls in the hours leading up to the fire. Though some people found this suspicious, Hannah later explained that the calls were just to arrange where DiMaggio would pick her up after cheerleading practice. Letters from Hannah to DiMaggio were also found at his house, but Hannah clarified that those letters had been written a year earlier when she was having trouble getting along with her mom. DiMaggio had been helping her work through those problems. The police emphasized that Hannah was a victim in every way and that she had no responsibility for what had happened to her family. The search for DiMaggio and Hannah soon became a massive operation. Authorities across several states were on high alert, and the public was encouraged to keep an eye out for anything suspicious. After they verified that it was Ethan found at the burned-out house, it became clear that DiMaggio was on the run with only Hannah. The search started in Southern California, but soon expanded to nearby states like Oregon and Washington. Investigators feared that DiMaggio might try to escape to Canada with Hannah. Hannah's father, Brett, made emotional pleas for his daughter's safe return. He appeared on television, urging Hannah to escape if she had the chance. His messages moved the public, and people became even more vigilant in watching for any signs of DiMaggio and Hannah. A break in the case came when a group of horseback riders in Cascade, Idaho, noticed two people who seemed out of place. At the time, they didn't know that Hannah was missing, but one of the riders saw the Amber Alert after returning home. He quickly called the police and told them about the sighting. This lead helped authorities narrow their search to a remote area known as the Frank Church River of No Return Wilderness. The terrain was rugged and difficult for search teams to navigate. First, the FBI used a surveillance plane to locate DiMaggio and Hannah's campsite. Then, FBI agents had to hike for 2 hours on foot to reach them so they could secretly surround the campsite. On August 10, 2013, the FBI successfully rescued Hannah at the campsite in Idaho. However, DiMaggio met his end during a confrontation with FBI agents. While it was a relief that Hannah was safe, the tragic loss of her mother and brother made the ending bittersweet. After being rescued, Hannah was reunited with her father, who picked her up and brought her home. She was glad to be back and immediately started answering questions on social media. Hannah said that connecting with her friends online helped her with the grieving process. Brett was there to help Hannah through the grieving process as well. He quit his job in Tennessee and moved to San Diego so she could live with him and continue to be with her friends. Although most people believe Hannah's story, not everyone agrees on what really happened. DiMaggio's sister doesn't believe her brother took the lives of Christina and Ethan. She thinks he was trying to protect Hannah, but the truth is, we may never know exactly what was going through DiMaggio's mind during those tragic events. This heartbreaking story shows how important it is for young people to tell their parents or guardians when someone makes them feel uncomfortable or unsafe. If you found this story interesting, be sure to check out more videos in our series of true crime stories involving a final betrayal. We'll see you again soon.